Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host Imperial Dane, featuring today 1 vs 1 on Moscow Outskirts. Yes, indeed, Moscow Outskirts. Going to be a long one, and we shall be watching we'll just call him Heinz, of the 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte going up against S73vo of the 20th Guards Rifle Division. It's going to be a brutal fight right here. In fact, we're seeing an MG42 start coming right out here for Heinz, which is definitely interesting to see how he's going to use that. Conscripts on the way for S73vo. S73vo spreading out to both sides of the map, or at least both wings, if you will. So intending to sort of spread out initially and not be so easily locked down by, say, an MG42. I would not be surprised. That is the intent and purpose. And there we go. The MG42 team rolls out, going straight for the munitions point as well. So clearly Heinz here has some plans with the munitionen. Point secure there, point secure there. A second MG42 on the way. That is definitely some less than usual stuff I'm seeing there from our Wehrmacht friend. Second conscript squad arriving, and looks like he's intending to use the MG42s to take territory rather than, interesting enough, of course, he might be feeling a bit confident due to the larger size of the map initially. They can actually pull this off without running into any serious issues. Still pretty bold and could, in theory, backfire. Going very aggressively here, Mr. Heinz. Not entirely sure what he is intending. S73vo continuing down here now towards the centre, and he's in fact going for the munitions point with the MG42. We're in fact seeing S73vo reacting to this. And there we go, Company setting up, attacking the MG42, setting up. And there we go, getting caught right in front of the MG42, getting gunned down already. This is not looking too well. And we are seeing S73vo directing a conscript squad to try and help with this. Combat engineers pushed away. And already Heinz is probably figuring he's going to be attacked from the other spot, since it's not likely that S73vo will be attacking from here again. Although S73vo in theory could have tried to vault over here, but might be a bit too late now. In fact, there we go. MG42 spots the second squad. Second engagement over here. MG42 stopping a conscript squad right there. Going for Heinz's fuel point, and there we go. The conscript stop right there. Rather bold, aggressive play by the MG42, and so far it's actually paying off for Heinz. Rather ballsy play, which could easily have backfired and resulted in him handing over an MG42 to the enemy, but in this case it's actually paying off. Grenadiers now arriving, and a second squad of pioneers appearing as well for Heinz, though his first squad is taking quite a beating from the Soviets. Checking going on as well.
Pioneer squad.
And getting the light machine gun upgrade at the same time. S73vo setting up the special rifle command. So the stakes are increasing, in particular if S73vo goes for an armoured car, in which case, or scout car, Heinz here will actually be a bit off guard, since he doesn't quite have the munitions yet for Panzerfaust. So will certainly be a bit low on it, particularly since he only has one squad that can fire Panzerfaust as well. So there are some inherent problems. Then again, this is some very aggressive play by Heinz, and very determined, very forceful play. In fact, we're seeing it over here as well. He's actually saying in his MG42 after S73vo's munitions point. This is certainly a man who plays aggressively. Grenadiers getting outmaneuvered and outnumbered by conscripts making a move for the cover, while the MG42 tries to hold up here and actually managed to stop the conscript there as well. Company is moving in with a flamethrower. Grenadiers fighting here versus conscripts.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Certainly not any kind of play I've seen before. Rifle grenades being unleashed against S73vo, wiping out additional conscripts.
We're ready.
see that Steve has lost most of the map due to some incredibly aggressive handling of the heavy machine guns. But there we go, the scout car has arrived. The turning point, perhaps. These grenadiers, though, are not doing too well either. Down to 2 men, gaining veterans 1 in the process. And there we go, second scout car, flamethrower unleashing death and doom upon the MD-42, which is definitely going to force it away. And so the Soviet counterattack has begun. German troops are dying and being pushed back on the right flank so far. More round grenades, and the conscript attack forced out in the open in force of the grenadiers with a light machine gun. That could definitely end up very painful for the conscripts. In particular, the MD-42 here as well opens up, but no, looks like they make it out of there. Pioneers delaying the scout car by the looks of it. But they are simply taking too much damage and they will need to retreat. Heinz, though, continues to retain control of the left-hand side of the map. Also interesting to note, none of them so far have bothered with a single victory point. This has been a fight to control the resources to push aggressively. We're also seeing the light mechanized company up for him, but he's already attacked on and he's not even using this at all. This is definitely irregular.
You need something formed up.
Securing points, in particular the vital fuel points. And of course, in that sense, the scout cars can of course also be used to sort of speed up capturing process, not necessarily because they take points faster, but you can quickly move from point to point, meaning you don't, have to wait so long between the points. So in that sense, what Steve will need to do is conduct a rapid advance, take as much territory back as possible before it's too late and Heinz here gets too much resources. Going in after the second MD-42, more flamethrowers. MD-42 will be forced to vacate the premises in the name of Comrade Stalin. And there we go, on the run. Can the MD crew member make it out of there alive? Looks like he got lucky, very lucky indeed. Second scout car ready to move as well. Needs to get moving. German counterattack in the process, MD-42 and the grenadiers with the MD-42 hitting the dirt, so either conscript support or guards, rifle combined arms.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
Clearly Heinz here loves the machine and gewehr. And lots of flamethrowers for his pioneers as well. This is definitely not your usual sort of build order. We're seeing the support armor corps going up here. MD-42 getting assaulted by the scout car. Needs to get out of there before it's too late. So close down to 1 man. Making a run for it. The scout car does not pursue. But there we go, moving in. Grenadiers might get off a Panzerfaust. But then again, 2 of the grenadiers just went down. And the last man is dead. And the MD-42 gets dropped behind for Soviet infantry secure. That was definitely a bit of a blow there. And that also means he's got no infantry left. In fact, that was a very low infantry start. He's going to need something else to sort of countermand it. Bunker up, going to be upgraded for the medic bunker. Steve advances now, swiftly and gloriously. And the conscripts secure themselves a fascist machine gun, which is definitely going to increase their firepower considerably.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. The bunker is now a field hospital.
I imagine the Panzer IV or the Ostwind would be the choice for Heinz, although he could go for a Stub if he so decided. Fuel cache up. Clearly Heinz is having a bit of an armor rush in mind, but at the same time not the usual one where we actually try to delay the player by securing a specific part on the map and just digging in. He went all out with only using heavy machine guns in a single grenadier squad. Again, rather unusual play in that sense, not what I'm used to seeing. And certainly not something I would necessarily suggest novices try out unless they're feeling extremely confident. The fuel cache is up, and now goes Steve, just continuing to secure points, pushing back the German lines. Conscripts held up in the building with their own machine gun, quickly going to stop the pioneers from advancing, I imagine. There we go, already 1 man down. Another man quickly bites the dust to the MG42. And there we go, the Austrian flak panzer is on the way, one of many flak panzers the Germans had. Although they only really got them at the later stages of the war. And there we go, more troops hitting the dirt by getting covered with fire. Pioneers though might still want to get out of there due to the presence of the scout car and its 50 caliber machine gun. And another scout car assault against the other MG42. Veterans won, but at the same time the Austrian flak panzer is out. And I suspect that scout car will be the prey. And sadly Steve was not quite aware what's going on, and there we go. Scout car down. A bit of hit the dirt, but he realises that's not going to do much against the Flugzeugabwehrkanone mounted.
We are losing the sector.
On the flak panzer. MG4 setting up here, and we're going to be seeing incendiary piercing rounds, but can he set it up in time? And yes, he does, and the entire thing bursts into flames. Oh, the horror. At the same time, field gun here getting caught off guard by the Ostwind. Already the flak panzer has gotten behind the crew. Infantry is moving up, but it might be too late to save it, and there we go, anti-tank grenade, but the field gun crew is already dead, torn to shreds. And there we go, the flak panzer firing away. And mines aggressively placed down by Steve there, very nice to see, very nice. MG42 covering the first one. And combat engineers very much on the run. Looks like this machine gun plate could be lost. Mine going off. Looks like no losses were suffered, and popping over to Steve-o, who's gone for guards, right for combined arms. And there we go, the placement there is down. Veterans one for the flak panzer, which could allow it to blitzkrieg, or at least attempt to blitzkrieg. In fact, that's what he does. But we do see that the field gun has moved up. So it did have something more specialised towards anti-tank weapons, but they preferred field guns, and again they preferred units having a bit more purpose than just shooting up tanks.
Supply lines have been cut.
There we go, conscripts making a rush for the flak panzer, and a final anti-tank grenade ends the monster and its rampage through the Soviet lines. Nice bit of work over here. The conscripts that might want to get back and reinforced. They're not in the best of combat conditions.
Field guns standing by.
Field guns being recruited, and MG42 setting up to stop this. Which in fact results in Steve-o being forced to pull back his field guns, at least for the time being. But there we go. Bombardment in. Shattering fences and other fun bits, while another MG42 sets up here. On top on the conscripts, they need suppressing them and pinning them to the ground. This MG42 is just being used extremely aggressively. It's quite incredible to watch.
We are losing territory.
Point being secured there, point being secured there. Panzer Grenadiers now out for Heinz, so looks like he's going for some actual infantry now. More Panzer Grenadiers. Clearly a very aggressive man. The MG42 realises it's gotten a bit too far ahead and quickly gets out there before it loses its life. Well handled there by Heinz, but clearly Steve was not out of the fight. Although again, I mean, we're currently already within the first, well, 14 minutes, seen the battlefield switch several times in the other one's complete domination. First, you know, the German, then the Russian, now the German again. And I imagine this won't be the last time. Both players are playing it very aggressively, none of them are really playing defensively. So this is definitely going to be an interesting fight. No holds barred or whatever. And we're seeing the mechanised armour company up for Steve-o. Steve-o certainly not holding back any punches. Black are going to go for what's most effective for the Soviets, which is the Su-85. When it comes to dealing with tanks, simply due to sheer speed, frontal armour, health, and basically a gun with a high rate of fire, combined with a nasty range. 3 squads of conscripts. Some equipped with submachine guns, the rest not. You could consider upgrading these with submachine guns as well. Second squad upgraded with submachine guns. Panzer engaging here. Veterans and 2 conscripts is going to be a problem for the Panzer Grenadiers. And there they go, the Panzer Grenadiers are quickly going down. The conscripts now in fact have the advantage, in particular with hit dirt on top. Forcing Heinz to retreat his Panzer Grenadiers without doing much damage. And having suffered huge losses in the process.
They've opened up on us!
But Heinz keeps on attacking. He keeps on attacking this point because he clearly knows that this is where is pretty much what you'd call, I know, Stés-Vo's transit junction. This is pretty much where Stés-Vo's troops always will be moving through, which of course means it's going to be a good spot to ambush for Heinz. And constantly getting stopped by the MG42, suffering lightly. Field gun gets off a kill without firing in the bombardment. Nasty stuff.
The sector is at risk.
Man down!
Holding out still, and there we go, another bombardment, going for the munitions again.
We're under attack!
And Heinz being very cool about this, he's just moving it around a bit despite being under direct bombardment from a field gun. And also seeing here Steamer going for the fuel points. Again, harassment is always part of their plans. Energy squad also upgraded with submachine guns. Panzer is going to here burned away by the combat engineers.
Units awaiting
It's very
orders.
disparate fighting, and there we go, a Panzer arrives for Heinz and the 1st SS. Sitting up here to cover this area, very nasty move.
Engineers ready.
Enemy contact!
And Guards infantry arriving as well, no light machine guns as of yet though.
They've opened up on us!
And looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are going to lose this fight now, they're thus forced away.
Replacements have arrived!
Nasty work.
Awaiting command!
And Stés-Vo continues to pour in troops here despite knowing about the MG42, but looks like already Heinz perhaps senses that something's not quite right and actually pulls back. Panzer 4 versus conscripts over here. Machine gun upgrade and then just tearing into them, but they do manage to damage the engine with an anti-tank grenade. Splendid work.
We are awaiting orders.
Red Army, at your service. AT gun here.
And the S-85 coming in.
To burn us out! Ready and willing!
There we go, conscripts being outmatched. And thus Stés-Vo realises there can be nothing to be gained by holding them and quickly retreats them. Poor Boris though goes down on the retreat.
This is our light anti-tank support. Now this land belongs to the Soviet people.
And what shall be Heinz's next move? Looks like he's for the time being abandoning the centre, switching over to the flanks where he feels possibly there's less resistance from Stés-Vo, whereas Stés-Vo of course is now going for a slightly more concerted strategy, focusing up the centre, perhaps setting up to counterattack the at least his suspected position of the Panzer 4. And there we go, light machine guns for the Guards infantry as well.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Also looks like the MG42 is soon going to hit Veterancy 3, which means it's going to be more accurate, which means it's going to be a lot more lethal. And there we go, Veterancy 3 is up, which is definitely going to mean a nightmare for the Soviet troops.
Field gun standing by.
And there we go, Guards infantry being engaged, but the field gun's opening up as well. And there we go, bundling up right in front of the field gun. Nasty combination. S-85 advancing, Panzer 4, damaged engine. Veteran is on the field gun by the way, increasing its damage. And that Panzer 4 is definitely a combat loss. And that was a swift armoured loss right there for Heinz. Conscript getting pushed away. Veterancy 3, MG42 firing away. Looks like the S-85 is also pulling away.
Capturing supply sector.
While Stés-Vo focused on one part of the map, Heinz has been advancing all across the rest of it. And it looks like he might actually be able to get the MG42 here, clearing out the crew with troops who have hit the dirt and submachine guns. For once, Heinz bit more off than he could chew, clearly right here. And the loss could definitely prove to be to the advantage of Stés-Vo's right there as an MG42 drops in front of him, right into his lap. Popping over to Heinz, securing the points. No doctrine as of yet for him, though. No doctrine as of yet for him. And there we go. Panzer is getting quickly stopped by the MG42. Bundle grenade only kills one poor bastard. Doesn't succeed in killing the rest. And we're actually seeing he's floating a lot of resources. Come on, Heinz. No sense in doing that. Get some more infantry if you must. S73 MG42 setting up and immediately letting loose. We're actually seeing that Steve-O's sending in several troops into the house. Pioneers could be lost. Bun grenade, and there we go. Conscript squad is lost. Wiped out. Pioneers, they'll go down in the very same instant. The flamethrower tank bursts open, enveloping the last member alive. And now we're seeing the S73 MG42 just shooting through the windows. Expert marksmanship with a heavy machine gun, killing Soviets ad libitum. And we're seeing Feshuk support doctrine up. Mortar half-tracks, smoke bombs, relief infantry already available. Another Panzer IV on the way. And the MG42 getting a bit outflanked. Forced away. Tragically so for the Germans, less so for the Russians. Still, Heinz continues to retain a nice chunk of the map.
Pioneers reporting objective captured.
And penal troops actually now arriving for Steve-O. Interesting, interesting.
Panzer Grenadiers.
But clearly here, Heinz needs to begin getting some more infantry, some more troops. He's getting a lot of pioneers now. He could also consider trying to use relief infantry in conjunction with his infantry attacks to sort of get some losses back. Thus allowing to quickly also keep up pressure on the flanks using lesser combat troops, but that would still force Steve-O to attach something to deal with them, or risk losing more of the map. More Panzer Grenadiers on the way. Lots and lots and lots of Panzer Grenadier out. Of the less than usual kind, usually Panzer Grenadiers would not be equipped like this with assault rifles. They were usually equipped like the Grenadiers with machine guns. In fact, usually the difference between a Panzer Grenadier squad and a Grenadier squad was the fact that the Panzer Grenadiers would have had a lot more light machine guns equipped to them. As an example of that, and they would have usually some more self-propelled options for support. There were some elements in the later stages of the war that were equipped with assault rifles, usually part of the Panzer Brigades. Some Panzer Division also, and they would usually be called part of what they would say Panzer Sturmabteilung, or basically Sturmabteilung. And then they'd usually be heavily equipped with assault rifles. Usually regular Panzer Grenadiers were not equipped like that, in fact. MG42 getting flanked by the Panzer IV. Field guns opening up, could be a threat to the Panzer IV. And we do see that Heinz pulls it away. We also see sector artillery is prepared. Penal troops letting loose on the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer IV needs to be careful here. S-85 has it within its sight. Field guns advancing. Panzer Grenadiers getting wiped out by the looks of it. No, or apparently something else. Still, relief infantry might have proved beneficial here. Might have. Come on, retreat those Panzer Grenadiers. And a squad is lost. Panzer IV with a damn destroyed engine, in fact. Too slow to retreat right there. Heinz needs to manage his Panzer IV better, or at least perhaps consider getting something else to support them. Stutz or Panzerabwehrkanone, or for example using the smoke bombs to obscure his path of retreat. Veterans of MG42, they're tearing through the conscripts here, and they also have their own MG42, so MG42 versus MG42. Nasty engagement. Whoever shall win this. Looks like the conscripts in fact are pioneers rushing up support, and there we go. Actually the conscripts retreat in the face of this. Interesting, interesting. Another Panzer IV on the way. Hopefully Heinz can get a bit more usage out than the previous ones. But Panzer IV subjected to anti-tank fire, in fact quite vulnerable to it. Since most Soviet anti-tank weapons can actually easily penetrate it and can't withstand that much damage, nor does it have, for example, the same speed or frontal armor as the S-85. So there are in fact quite some weaknesses at hand there.
Anti-tank gun firing! Hey assholes, we're Panzer Grenadiers, not Panzers!
And hitting the dirt here for whatever reasons, I can't quite divine from Steve-O. Progress though being made on the flanks. Still very brutal fighting. I'm still not a huge fan of the resources that are being floated by Heinz and the 1st SS. clearly now we are seeing that Heinz is focusing down the field guns, realizing they are one of the primary threats to his plans of action. Oh dear, Panzer has just immediately burst into flames and other kinds of death. An entire squad just got wiped out again. He really might want to consider using relief infantry. Osttroppen can be quite handy. They're basically conscripts, except they veterancy up a lot faster. Plus they gain small bonuses while in cover, I recall being told by the developers at Relic. So there's a little fun fact there. But they're going to be forward to again being used aggressively. Just ending so many lives. Also quite rare to see a veterancy free MG42, but clearly Heinz knows how to do it. Assault going in there, Pentagonist, Combat Pioneers, and we are seeing Panzer IV on the far flank here, engaging the Guards infantry. Infantry gets pushed away here by the Pentagonist Pioneer combo, and Maxim sets up. Steve was actually gun himself a Maxim, quickly putting an end to the assault here from the German infantry, or can they pull through? Panzer being more occupied, or Maxim being occupied with the Panzer while the Pioneers then proceed to actually flank. Pentagonist though won't want to get out of there before it's too late, and there we go. Quite some exciting stuff here. Guard infantry rushed away by the Panzer IV. And conscripts leading the counterattack, forcing the Pioneers to retreat. In fact, veterancy 2 Pioneers. Not bad, not bad. Resources are continued to float. Could also consider setting up a howitzer, the light field howitzer. One of many bits of artillery German any kind of German division actually would have had in support. This would have been more higher divisional level, even for battalions. For an infantry grenadier division, that is, or Panzer division, would have had some own light artillery, that is the light Infanteriegeschütz and the schwere Infanteriegeschütz. Which is interesting enough, less featured here, would actually have been a nice little thing to add in. Machine gun making a run for the central point, very boldly again. Heinz using that heavy machine gun crew very aggressively and actually flanking the field gun with it. And immediately sets about opening up and actually begins clearing out the field gun crew. Katusha though opens up in response, but he might actually get the field gun. No, it escapes, it escapes. Well, that was bleeding close there. MD42 crew are definitely a bunch of heroes of the Reich, but they are quickly pushed off the field again. And there we go, field howitzers up. Oh, and a mine right there, the munitions right next to Heinz base. Well played and bastardly played right there by Steve-O. Field gun firing away, and we're seeing sector artillery down right here. That was perhaps less well considered, since it's a short period of, well, territory and doesn't quite have the full view of it, which rather limits the overall effectiveness of sector artillery, in particular considering it costs 200 munitions. So I think that could have been used a bit better. Actually, again, relief infantry. I feel it's a slightly underestimated ability by some. Of course, it's just my opinion. Field gun though continues to blast away, but so far has only one Soviet soul on its conscience. Heinz shifting towards the right hand side, of course, realizing that the West is not going to offer so much easy targets, and that clearly is what he wants now. He just wants to gain as much territory as easily as possible without losing too much, which is certainly an alright endeavour. Second Panzerkampfwagen fitting up, and there we go again, the veterancy free MK42. Opening up on the dreaded conscripts.
Albitzer.
We have contact. The enemy is attempting to steal.
And there we go, conscripts hitting the dirt. But versus a veterancy free MG42, it holds less power. And there we go, beginning to lose men. Even digging in as deep as they can, cannot avoid the sharpened eyes of the MG42 gunner. Katusha fired towards the MG42 but doesn't seem to have any luck in actually hitting it, and there you go, the conscripts forced to retreat right past it, with the Panzer IV moving up to support. Panther's fighting in the centre. He might want to consider upgrading some of his Panthers with punch selects, but again he's back to one squad. While he might be good at handling his MG42s, he's less good at handling his infantry, it would seem. Popping over to Steve, and time for the game analysis. And what is the current situation? We're actually seeing a nice 50-50 split at the moment of the map. But we're of course also seeing that either player has a few problems. Largely though, it's Steve who has the less problems, because Steve has been able to maintain a much better coherence of units and thus unit preservation. And that's a bit the problem in the larger scale with Heinz compared to Steve. Heinz has been losing a lot more infantry. He's also been floating a lot more resources, and he's been losing a lot of infantry squads, whereas Steve here has basically lost, I think, one squad of conscripts. That's about it. Some other units here and there, but ultimately though, he's largely retained the majority of his units. He's been able to keep them alive. He's been able to get them to high veterancy, and he's basically not been wasting them left and right, which overall allows him to maintain better overall pressure on the map and slowly but surely push back, because even with all that veterancy free MG42, it can't last forever. Not if it's not properly supported with infantry, which clearly isn't happening. And of course that rather poses, of course, the first issue here for Heinz. He needs to get some infantry out, he needs to begin preserving it, and if he fails that, he needs to use relief infantry to sort of maintain some sort of infantry force so he can actually sort of try and hold the front line, because that's rather his main problem currently. He's losing the ability to do that, as he's wasting a lot of squads. His panzers are not really working out well either. Again, he had a great start, but now he's beginning to falter. And he also needs to sort of get a bit of a better grip on his armour. For Steve, on the other hand, of course, it's about keeping up the pressure. It's about mining. He needs to ensure that there's no chance of Heinz here getting back. A second SU-85 will work out, but also perhaps a few SU-76 to provide a bit of light artillery could also work out. Getting penal troops is definitely going to add to the advantage he has in terms of infantry, by adding some more nasty buggers in that sense, with the SVT-40s, semi-automatic rifles. And of course with his doctrine he could consider getting his own howitzer, though in a counter-battery ability is less accurate, so it wouldn't be something to depend on. Basically for him to keep up the pressure, and I would also say his current priority might be to take out the howitzer, because that howitzer could definitely prove to be one of the things that could help Heinz win this match, or at least keep on fighting. So that howitzer needs to go, and of course for Heinz he needs to protect the howitzer, but again he also needs to build up a solid, serious infantry force now, and needs to do something to maintain it, either through getting his unit preservation suddenly back together, or at least using relief infantry that way, sort of counter that sort of issue, because again he's suffering extreme attrition, and that's only working out to the favour of the Soviet player. In particular with this one, which rather gives some abilities to negate that through hit the dirt and submachine guns, which allows him to much more easily boost the combat ability of his most basic troop, the conscripts. And of course now with penal troops arriving, I mean, he's definitely not going to be making things easier for Heinz. Of course, at the same time, Heinz needs to figure out where he wants to focus now, because another problem is with the rather strategy he's playing, besides lack of infantry, which of course resulting in he can't simply hold all of the map. He needs to focus on one part of the map and decide, what do I want to hold, how do I want to hold it. He needs to do it now. Either he wants to hold it here, or he wants to hold it here. He should not be trying to hold it like this, because he can't hold it any longer. He's lost too much infantry. He needs to take one step back and decide on what to hold. He who defends everything defends nothing, as a German emperor once said, and currently that's what's happening here for Heinz. He's defending nothing. So let us return to the fight. Artillery firing away once more. SU-85 suffering a bit of shrapnel.
Enemy forces are attempting to
As the
capture
leichte Feldhaubitze fires away. And conscripts on the move here, going to engage the Panzer IV most likely. Of course, good old Commander 5 from the Panzer MG42. Anti-tank grenade is most likely. There we go. Getting crushed, yes indeed. Getting murdered by the MG42 as well. Panzer IV advancing on the right flank as well. Looks like he's launching a larger assault. Except he's only got his Panzer missing. Katrusha fire towards the light field howitzer as well. 7 kills. While a small infantry force secures the right hand side. Bold but could prove fatal. Again, Heinz here going very aggressively in, pressuring Steve, at the same time he's risking everything, because could easily lose everything in one concentrated blow from Steve. Second SU-85 on the way as well. Panzer IV dodges SU-85 fire for a bit now, but probably not for that much longer either.
Our unit counters.
And there we go, the second SU-85 arrives. Sector artillery going down. Veteran to 1 for the SU-85. Sector artillery fails to hit. And of course it only rather works if you can actually see where it is, which is not quite what he can. Except around that point. Repairing the Panzerkampfwagen here. He could try with the smoke drop here to obfuscate the line of fire and sight of the H-85 and quickly get behind it. But of course the question becomes, will that work, and will he actually do that? He's only got the ability due to the doctrine, but again, will he use it? And there we go, H-85 rushing in. And at that very moment he does have an advantage, but he's too late already. The H-85 is already moving away in the blitzkrieg. He might not make it up behind it. Oh, he got hit by his own artillery. His own sector artillery took out the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV. Good Lord. Why the hell is it a Panzer? Fuck that. Anyways, that was definitely not working out well there for Heinz. Brutal stuff. Got hit by nose in his own sector artillery. Artillery continues to fire away. But that was definitely a nasty blow right there and cost him the chance to knock out H-85, which is in fact very close to hitting Veterancy 2. I would also suggest he actually begins considering at least a Pack 40 or 2, or perhaps a bunch of Stooks, and he's moving in the Veterancy 3 MD-42 already again. 31 kills by the way. And mowing his way through the field gun crew, but already they're getting flanked by the conscripts. And then he actually gets a field gun. He gets it. But he might finally lose the Veterancy 3 MD-42, and that would be a huge blow. No, looks like he makes it. Guardian making the way and are being forced away. Panzer Grenadiers doing what they can to cover their retreating comrades. And this Panzer IV needs repairs. Close to Veterancy 1 for the field howitzer. And the Katyusha moving up.
Yes, comrade. Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector. Fresh meat has arrived.
And Penal Troops versus Pioneers. Who will win this? Looks like the Pioneers, in fact, who might gain Veterancy 3. Yes, indeed, they do. And the Penal Troops could actually go down to the Pioneers, who's actually gotten a lot of kills. Impressive work. Heinz manages an assault breaking through the centre of S73vo.
Our vehicle is in contact with the enemy.
And that would actually be a good spot for a barrage right now. But apparently he decided against it. But he did see it. So why is the question? I don't know. The question I don't have the answer to. Panzer IV rolling forwards. He might want to supplement with Stooks for something with a higher rate of fire, and which is what some people tend to forget about the Stook. It does have a higher range than the Panzer IV. It does have a decent AoE now, but it also has a high rate of fire. Penal Troops make a run for the MD-42. Looks like they might get up on the flank. Could they get off a satchel charge? No. In fact, they're trying to escape, but they might not. And there we go. They did not make it. Pioneers suffering bravely, but ultimately in vain. And there we go. The Penal Troops are forced right past the Veterancy 3 MD-42, and the losses are horrendous. But we are seeing that once more Heinz has regained the map. But we're also noting here that he has a lot of veteran troops, Mr. S73vo. Which is more than what can be said for Heinz.
I am getting tired of this. Enemy is engaging
Destroyer here.
But Veterans 1 for the field howitzer, giving it the counter-artillery or counter-barrage ability, which in theory ensures that if the either, I think he also implies the field guns, but the Katyusha fires in the range, the artillery will fire directly back at it and knock it out, which would not be a bad idea necessarily. Would probably catch Steve a bit off guard here, and who knows if he has anything too close to it, he would lose that as well. Just a thought anyways. Just a thought anyways.
This is our territory now.
And heavy fighting over the victory points. Mines going down again. Continued aggressive advance from the MD42. 40 kills almost.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Ooh, rushing straight at it, and it's simply not succeeding. They're taking heavy losses. 41 kills, 42 kills. The MD42 just shreds away. Panzer is suffering their own issues in the centre by the centre victory point. We'll need to get out of there as fire and other nasty things are unleashed upon them. Looks like the Houter's firing back. Another Panzer IV already. He might want to actually focus the map. And there we go, veterans with 3 Panzer Grenadiers. Not entirely sure what he was firing at there though. And those veterans with 3 conscripts are almost a complete and total loss. And he needs to be careful he doesn't hit his own Panzer Grenadiers with the artillery. What are you doing, Heinz? Ach du lieber. Oh, he lost veterans with 3 MD42. His aggressive and bold play has finally failed him. Yes, wasted the veterans with 3 MD42 right there. Of course, he did a lot with it and turned itself in, but right there, that was a loss as it allowed the Katyusha to fire point blank at it. So that was a tragic loss. Quite nasty indeed. And that could certainly give Steve a huge chance to basically come back, since there's less to worry about, in particular less to worry about something that might shred through his entire forces in seconds. Ammunitions cache going up. Looks like he might try to rely further upon. But will this be enough to save Heinz in the 1st SS in their grave battle against the 10th Guards? Looks like he's finally pairing up his Panzer IVs. Now, of course, we're seeing the direct base getting engaged. Steve-o is getting more aggressive. And immediately losing troops to the Katyusha. Again, counter barrage might have been an idea. Panzer IV leading the advance to the right flank, and a poor Pioneer squad, his last veterans of 3 squad on the west flank. Well, he got the Panzer Grenadiers, so my fault there. But a direct strike against the house, and he's calling it a Sturmovik run. A Sturmovik run. Quickly ending the lives of one of the crew members. Sector artillery called in right in front of all of this. Popping back to Heinz. Another run, the field gun. But the question is, for how much longer? And the S75 moving in as well. And there we go. Direct hit. At the same time, he's actually making a base assault with the Panzer IV himself. He's rushing Steve-o's space. Not entirely sure if that was a good idea. Hoping to perhaps wipe out a few depleted veteran squads, and already there one is lost. But at the same time, he risks getting hit with anti-tank grenades, and already there one is down. We're seeing Soviet tank destroyers rushing in. Panzer is leading assault here, overwhelming a nearby machine gun crew. Clearly, Heinz does not favour the defence. which makes it a bit awkward. He went for fishing support, but and so he did not use some of the abilities that might have helped him on the attack. And clearly one Panzer IV is going to go down, both though, of course, with damaged engines. S72 right there. And there we go, second H-85 arrives on the scene. Not much point in popping smoke here though. Could he get the H-85? No, he's already gone without range. And there we go, combat loss. Another wasted Panzerkampfwagen 4, tragically so. But he has managed actually pushing away SSS from the field for the time being. The question is, how long will this last?
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Another Panzer IV. And of course the question is if not just getting several Stuks might not be better here, since they could in theory knock them out faster. As long as they can hit from the right angles, they will basically shoot faster. Panzer IV versus the Guards infantry. And he's even lost the Veterans Free Pioneers now. Oh dear. And Veterans Free conscripts actually forced to retreat in the face of the Panzer Grenadiers. That's quite impressive.
Standing by.
And of course the question is, what shall Heinz now do? He's severely lacking in everything, yet he's still doing a lot of pressure to SSS, which I suppose says a lot about his, again, aggressive play, which is rather, I suppose, disorientating for SS. He's not entirely sure how to figure all of this out. And another Pioneer squad. More Katyusha fire, hitting nothing but dirt. Panzerkampfwagen here pulling back.
Yes.
And a bit of quiet. And another Panzer IV, though interesting enough he's not even trying to slightly alter, and which rather displays he perhaps is a bit too confident in the Panzer IV, despite having lost tons of them, which does display a bit of an unflexible mind when it comes to that. I mean, if you're constantly spamming the same unit, you're not quite getting the results you want out of it. Perhaps you might, because despite what a few people like to believe, the Panzer IV is not the end of everything. It's a nice and effective tank, but it's still a Panzer IV, and thus of course it has its limits. Which is what some people tend to forget, in particular in the face of the H-85 and a few field guns. And in that sense, he might have been better off actually taking straight on to the 4th tier and getting Panthers instead. Panzer Gun is suffering horribly.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And struggling to hold it all. I mean, he's simply also too greedy. Heinz refuses to give up an inch. I suppose he must be Austrian. If you get that one. If you do and you're Austrian, in fact, my apologies. But Panzer IV rushing in. And Heinz continues to spread out his panzers quite far and still decides to get them very close to the conscripts with the anti-tank grenades, which really doesn't seem like the brightest idea, considering what tends to happen to a disabled Panzer IV. And it's being handed a bottle of vodka. His he going to try for the same thing again? Also my pardons for the fraps issues. Again, I'm rather suspecting it's more related to the hard drive in some way, some unstable part of it. As again, we also have quite periods where there's absolutely nothing going on, so again, I'm expecting it less to do with fraps, and again, switching to dictatorial, whatever some people suggest won't help. But what was that for then, Heinz? Just moving them back and forth. Oh. And two Panzers vanish in the blink of an eye.
Enemy forces are securing our territory. Long-range artillery is at your command.
Come on, make up your mind. And there we go. Fallout assault on the church with a machine gun crew in it. S75's rolling in, troops moving up. Is he going to move straight with the lineup? That was close.
Panzer Grenadiers.
And still going for that munitions point right next to Steve-O's base. Heinz knows no quarters, no mercy, no forgiveness. And apparently no preservation either.
Yes.
He's clearly trying to keep the Panzer Force in some sort of reserve position, trying to ensure they don't get caught by the S-85s, which is certainly admirable, but at the same time he's just having them move about. I mean, if they were actually having to run on fuel in the game, they'd certainly have run dry now.
Watch for counterattacks.
Contact! Infantry!
Standing by.
Germany now holds
Still fighting for the victory points, things are close. Looks a bit quiet at the moment. More Maxims up for Steve-O.
Our opponents are seizing the sector.
Still going for points, still going for resources. And looks like Heinz is going for a full west assault. Panzer Grenadiers, Panzer IVs. While these are getting bombarded by the Katyusha, the Stalin organ.
The best is now in the sector has been cut off. Enemy spotters trying to engage. Our drive train is damaged. We've slowed
There we go, anti-tank grenade. Can Steve get... Oh, he's actually setting up a second howitzer. So not out of the artillery game, it seems.
The enemy is taking our territory. We're in contact with the enemy.
And another mine.
We've been promoted.
You're in the shit now.
Certainly Steve has been quite dedicated with them, which is good. I need to be careful that he doesn't begin losing men to the enemy machine guns.
Sector.
In this case, one man by guardsmen and then merged with a conscript squad.
Points remaining.
Quite interesting combination, looks rather cool actually.
Supply lines.
But certainly good to see that Steve was actually using merge to actually reinforce such weapons, since that's actually cheaper.
Things are getting hot here.
By the way, Panzer Grenadiers, they want to retreat. Rückzug. Oh, another squad lost.
Suffering losses.
Heinz lost another squad, most tragically. Shifting up Panzer IV again on its own, barely getting any kills on them, thus any veterancy. And popping over to Steve-O. And rather looks like the Leibstandarte are losing the field completely now.
Hardback will be keeping it.
Heinz's aggression no longer being able to cover up the severe attrition he's suffering. Which really ought to be a point of concern for Heinz. And there you go, the S-85 rolling in on the path to hunt down the prey.
Tank! Don't give me the target! What?
And there we go, already a few hits.
The enemy has taken our supply.
One more hit, in fact, that Panzer IV is going to go down. There you go with the damaged engine and killed. Really not looking good for the Germans now. Quickly hitting the dirt, quickly blocking off the main route there, and sector artillery unleashed once more. Doing nicely against the troops active, hit the dirt. Quite nicely in fact. And in fact we see StetSo lose an entire squad. It's actually been some time since I think he did that. And Panzer IV advancing straight into heavy fire. I think also some of the sectors have actually hit him. And there we go, field gun and the H85's opening up. Another Panzer IV lost. And everything's clearly falling apart here for Heinz. Howitzer blasting away, but ultimately not doing an awful lot. Looks like another squad went down. Panzer managed to force away the penal troops.
We are ready to build it or blow it.
Veterans free combat engineers. Impressive. Impressive. Ooh, and a nice direct hit on the S85. Though obviously not enough. And some Panzer Grenadiers sneaking behind around everything. But looks like StetSo might have had enough of Heinz. He's going for a direct assault on the base. And there we go, Howitzer coming under fire. And there we go, gone, and SU-85 veterans are free. Bunker lost. Another bunker down.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
This would pretty much be the end.
You have orders?
Although it looks like a field gun got caught here by the Panzer Grenadiers.
Victory is in our grasp. Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
And Heinz's base is crumbling now. As the SU-85s unleash a torrent of fire again. They also have a high rate of fire. One shot every 4 seconds. And of course combined with veterans, 2 elite veterans in this case, of course that means some very, very nasty things. There we go, like to make a nice company as well. Down. Headquarters next. And again, just losing so much life so quickly. Only slightly interrupted by a single Panzer Grenadier retreating back to base, only to get murdered. Might as well speed this up. And there we go, and game over. A loss for the Reich, a loss for the 1st SS. Brutal fighting. We saw 2 very aggressive players go all out against each other, but we of course also saw some mistakes, we saw some flaws, and those flaws in large were from Heinz, who had problems actually preserving his units for all this aggression. Particularly his infantry in the early game suffered a lot, which really allowed StetSo to slowly build up a presence and then get back into the field. And that was rather what ultimately hurt Heinz in the longer run, because it was just his infantry in the long run that was affected by it. It was also his tanks, because he couldn't support them properly. They'd be running around on their own with little clue of what's going on, get ambushed by SU-85s or field guns and wiped out. That of course combined with a lack of packs, but again he was so utterly obsessed with aggressive play he didn't want to get something like that which would slow him down. And of course another problem was he kept just throwing the same units at StetSo without mixing them up with anything, and of course allowed StetSo to much more solidly build up a counterforce to deal with it, which of course didn't help either remotely. And in that sense he should have considered something else, a mortar perhaps. Mortars, half tracks of some sort could have benefited him as well, but again it never came on the field, nor relief infantry. The mortar half track, again he could have done more with his doctrine as well, which I really find is a huge Shame. I mean, he had such nice aggressive play, but again, it was ultimately undermined by a very, very monotone sort of play style in some ways, which rather lacked some depth, and which again allowed Steve to nicely counter it in the long run. And again, Steve was able to hold out, and he was also a slightly better defensive player with actually using mind, which of course is nice to see. But of course, not to say that Heinz is not without his ability. Again, he was very aggressive. He was able to actually push back Steve with a smaller force several times, but constantly just being aggressive and constantly, just hitting Steve from all sorts of angles, which clearly Steve wasn't expecting. So in that sense, very nice play, but again, also some clear things that need improvement, which again largely come down to unit preservation and building up something with a slightly more varied force, because again, that was his problem. It was a bit of a shallow force. For Steve, of course, he might have wanted some more machine guns earlier up at some stage, but again, he also handled the aggressive machine guns nicely with the scout cars. He could also have considered perhaps a single sniper team. That probably would also have had some benefit, and of course, a howitzer himself could also have had its advantages, but I mean, he largely played quite well as well and certainly did much better. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. My apologies for the technical difficulties, but there you go. And well, cheers. If you liked it, share with friends, all that. Cheers again.